Xbox has a new mortal enemy, and it's not the people that you expect. What is up, y'all? I'm Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. The latest news, rumors, games, accessories, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Xbox's new mortal enemy. It's not PlayStation, it's not Nintendo. This is the biggest obstacle that they face in terms of realizing their master plan. And then we'll move on to some surprisingly good news about Xbox's hardware sales. Then we'll wrap up the video talking about the mystery surrounding Doom: The Dark Ages. So lately on the channel, I've been talking a lot about Xbox's future gaming ambitions. A lot of that has to do with their expansion on cloud and PC gaming, which it's kind of been weird to talk about because I spend the majority of my time gaming on my Series X back there. But I do think it's interesting because I do use the Xbox PC app on my gaming laptop, on my Ally. I have been known to indulge in a bit of cloud gaming as well. Console, PC, cloud. That is the holy trinity for Xbox right now. But a sector that Xbox Microsoft has been just dying to get into in terms of gaming is mobile. Gaming on your phone. And yeah, cloud gaming has a little bit to do with that. But what they really want to do is have their own mobile gaming storefront, their own app. And yes, I'm aware they have a bunch of apps right now, but I'm talking they want a singular app where you can make in-game purchases and they won't get charged to death by Apple or Google for any purchases that you make in their games once you're in that app. At one point, they were saying that we were going to see an Xbox mobile store as early as July of last year, which of course never happened. And as recently as April, they were promising, oh yeah, you'll be able to buy games through our app. In preparation for that, they even took away one of my favorite Xbox app features, the Remote Play. Now I have to go into the cloud gaming website and log in and use Remote Play through there. It's stupid, but none of that, a mobile storefront, in-app purchases, none of that's materialized for them yet. And it's all because of Apple. Yeah, today it's being reported that Microsoft filed this, what's it called again? An amicus brief. I don't know what that is. Maybe the lawyers in the comments lurking around could elaborate on that. But The Verge is saying Microsoft filed an amicus brief late on Tuesday in support of Epic Games' ongoing fight with Apple's control over the App Store. The brief takes issues with Apple's attempt to overturn the injunction that allows Epic and other developers to freely advertise alternative payment methods in their apps and not have to pay Apple additional fees for purchases made outside of apps. From my understanding, this is to try and future-proof Xbox's plans because yes, they can, technically sell you a game through the Xbox app on your phone. But Apple is trying to appeal that decision, the court decision that allowed that to happen. And even if they change it, Apple can totally go back and say, yeah, no, we changed our mind. We're changing it back to what makes us the most money. The issue is that when Xbox tries to say, hey, here's a link that'll take you to the Microsoft store so you can, give us your money and Apple doesn't need to take a cut. Apple's like, no, I want that cut. And this has been the whole back and forth for years now. And it was most notably it gained traction because of Epic Games and Fortnite being taken off the App Store. Fortnite, the most successful free-to-play game ever, probably, partly because of the in-game microtransactions. And it got to the point where Epic was like, this is crap. Apple is taking way too much money from us. Financially, it doesn't make as much sense to support it on Apple iOS devices. Let's just take Fortnite off the App Store. And since then, it's just been this dick swinging back and forth. Epic saying, no, it's not fair that Apple has like this duopoly, this chokehold on in-game purchases. They're being gatekeepy. And all this time, Microsoft hasn't directly involved themselves in any of this, not until this most recent amicus brief, sabbatical brief, whatever they call it. But the whole time they've been in the background lurking like, yes, why should Apple be able to do this, then this? We should be able to farm our customers for money and all that money should go to us, not them. It is a massive obstacle in their broader gaming ambitions, like I was saying earlier. What is the current goal of Xbox right now? To make every screen an Xbox. This is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox. And if Microsoft can get an Xbox storefront where they get 100% of the cash and all the money that they make on in-game transactions goes to them, suddenly that gives them access to hundreds of millions of new customers without the need to try and sell them an Xbox console. It's all about money. Did you know that mobile gaming, in terms of revenue, it out-earned console and PC gaming by like over $40 billion in terms of just straight revenue. That was in 2024. It's not even close. And Microsoft, they're seeing stuff like that and thinking to themselves, I want a piece of that pie. Problem is that in order to get a piece of that pie, they got to get past Apple or the Google Play Store. They're having a little bit of an easier time over on Android with that Google Play Store, but Apple, it just seems like they are fighting an uphill battle, and it doesn't seem to be getting better to the point where it will realize their ambitions. I imagine that Microsoft specifically, they want to get moving on this as fast as they can. It's been almost 2 years since they anteed up over $69 bajillion to buy Activision Blizzard. And sure, a part of that was securing mega IP like Call of Duty, but one of the motivating factors based off of straight up what Phil Spencer was saying during the whole investigation into that deal was that they can make a move into mobile gaming on the backs of Call of Duty Mobile, RIP, and Candy Crush. There's been this slow realization that that acquisition, that money, that came with some strings for Xbox. And one of those strings is being able to make a meaningful push into the mobile gaming space. I understand that most people who watch this channel aren't going to care about this because you're probably like me, you probably spend the majority of your time playing your Xbox games on an Xbox console, not on your phone. I'm in this for one reason and one reason alone. I want one single Xbox app. I don't want it split across multiple. And I know a big reason why that is because of all of this legal rigmarole that Xbox is dealing with when it comes to Apple and their practices with the App Store. But even though I'm probably going to be waiting a long time for that to happen, and even though Xbox's focus seems to be kind of scattered, they're not as focused on the console anymore. It turns out that hardware sales have taken a positive turn. This is crazy to me because pretty much the entire time that I've ran this channel, it's been nothing but bad news in terms of Xbox Series console sales, especially for the past like 2 years. It's been nothing but, year-over-year decline. Only like freaking 2 consoles were sold this month in the United States. But according to Circana, Xbox may have finally seen some solid year-over-year growth, both in units and retail sales. Matt Piscatella over on Bluesky said, PlayStation $5 sales declined 5% in April compared to a year ago, but the platform once again led the hardware market in both dollar and unit sales. Switch hardware spending fell 37% in April, while Xbox Series grew 8%. Grew by 8%. Very, very interesting. This is coming in a month where overall hardware spending fell by 8% compared to last year. And if we're looking at it just the month of April, this kind of spring stretch that we've been looking at, and the only reason, especially like since this is coming in the month of April specifically, the only thing I can think of that contributed to this is Game Pass. Game Pass had a really great string of months, especially this past spring. We've talked a lot about the first party stuff, South of Midnight, Avowed, Doom the Dark Ages that came out this month, but there was also some really strong third-party support, like with Expedition 33, Atomfall, and of course the Oblivion Remaster was added in April, which is towards the top in terms of sales from Xbox. Excuse me, it's rank number 1. I don't know if it's a situation where people saw these games being added to Game Pass day one and were like, ooh, I gotta go pick up an Xbox console right now so I can access Game Pass and play these games. Again, it might be too optimistic to think that that's happening en masse, but it's the only thing I can think of when it comes to contributing factors to positive hardware sales. Also, if that is happening, if people are buying an Xbox console to get access to Game Pass, how long are they going to stick around on Game Pass? Can Xbox keep up this cadence, this release schedule that they've been on? It's been awesome, but is it sustainable? Honestly, it doesn't seem like they are showing any signs of slowing down. Today, I saw that they were going to be adding Metaphor RE Fantasio, and that's a awesome win. It makes sense because they have such a great relationship with Atlas, but it is an incredible third-party get for Game Pass, especially since people are all about Expedition 33. They're all about this turn-based combat JRPG style game. Xbox can now turn and be like, hey, you like that? You like Expedition 33? Well, we got another game that was like that, a Game of the Year contender with Metaphor RE Fantasio. Now, the problem is that Game Pass, yes, it's awesome, but it's not awesome enough to convince me to spend $600 on an Xbox console, or almost $400 for a Series S. And that's the situation that Xbox is going to be dealing with once these price increases take effect. A lot of retailers haven't been enforcing the new prices, but when they do, I imagine a lot less people are going to buy Xbox consoles because that's just whack. Let's wrap up the video talking about Doom: The Dark Ages. Bethesda, they just put out a statement saying that they are celebrating a huge milestone. 3 million people have played Doom: The Dark Ages. To some, this is an incredible achievement. Wow, 3 million people playing this game. And it's only been out for, what, a couple of weeks, maybe? But with Doom: The Dark Ages, I see a lot of people being like, okay, but how many people are actually playing the game? How many people are playing it for like 30 minutes and then calling it quits? Or is Bethesda still counting that? Especially because there's been news floating around that it's doing poorly on Steam because of the concurrent player count. Sure, if 3 million, if those were straight sales, that would be awesome, especially at $80 a pop for the game. But is it possible, guys, that we're getting a little bit too nitpicky when it comes to the success of a game or how a company chooses to celebrate milestones for its game launch? I don't know, something about this whole conversation about Doom of like, oh, what are the specifics of these 3 million players? How are they playing it? How long are they playing it? It just got me thinking of like, why are we so obsessed as gamers, as customers with game sales? I could understand why studios, platform holders, publishers, why they would be obsessed with it. That's their whole job. But why do I care? I mean, if I really like a game and it sells really well, it's very successful, that benefits me, sure, because, you know, the chances of getting a sequel go through the roof compared to if it flopped. The chances of it getting updates and support, they go up. But you know what a successful game to me is? If I download a game, if I play it through Game Pass, if I buy it, and if I like it, that's a successful game to me. And if I'm only one of a couple thousand people that bought it and I still enjoyed the game, I still win. I think all this nitpicking about how many people bought it versus played it through Game Pass versus, oh, they just signed up for the $1 deal and they played it that way. It's a shame because Doom: The Dark Ages is a good game. I rolled credits on it the other day, and while yes, it's not like Doom Eternal, I still think it is worth your time. There are a couple of things I would like to walk back from my initial review though. In my initial review, I was saying, oh, you know, the shield, the parrying, it's important, but I can see how people would be able to maybe do like a no parry, no shield run of this game. You would lose a lot of the synergies that you get with parrying and how it empowers your certain weapons once you upgrade them. It would also cut you off from a lot of the fun shield stuff that you're able to do, like the shield charge and freaking throwing the shield at someone and they're like, but at the time I reviewed the game, I was on like chapter 16. I was like, I could see how it's possible to maybe go without the shield. And chapter 17, actually, there's this puzzle that makes you fight without the shield. You have to keep the shield embedded in this gate and you have to kill the enemies before you can go and collect the treasure. But the more I got into the end game, I'm like, okay, no, you definitely need to be able to parry in order to beat this game. Maybe some god tier level Doom player is gonna prove me wrong, but there are certain enemy types, certain bosses that are super aggressive with their melee attacks, and it's impossible to sprint away from them and create some distance between you and use a longer range weapon because their speed, they're just so aggressive, their speed, they can close that distance on you in an instant. But I like that though. I like the parrying mechanic in this game and I like the sound effect that it makes. I was a little harsh on the story in my first review. I'm like, I don't really care about this. But when I got to the end, I realized I'm like, okay, I care enough to where it makes beating up the bad guys, beating the absolute doggy doo-doo out of them, it makes it enjoyable. Overall, I thought it was a really fun game, and it's a shame that all of these other narratives have started popping up about the concurrent player count on Steam, questioning the validity of these 3 million players. But you know, the negativity, the critical voices, they seem to be a little bit louder than the positive ones, so I'm just gonna chalk it up to that. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.